have been living in Hawaii, and Dateline reports they may be planning to leave the country.
He's heading out today?
No comments.
Where are your kids? There's a lot of people who are worried about your kids. Are you guys worried about them?
Lori's refusal to help authorities find JJ and Tylee puzzles her family and investigators.
Okay, so I'm going to read you the Facebook post that Tammy posted after that whole paintball gun incident, which I've come to find out through you guys, a lot of the comments, that I didn't even realize that maybe it actually was a real gun with that's the one that Alex had with the silencer on it or whatever, and maybe it just failed somehow and she just assumed it was a paintball gun, and maybe Chad told her that because she called for him, so she didn't get all in a panic. He just said, oh yeah, it was just a paintball gun, because he knew the truth. If that was really Alex in the mask and Lori put him up to it, Chad would have known. So it makes you wonder. Okay, so I'm going to read it to you. It says, okay, neighbors, something really weird just happened, and I want you to know so you can watch out. I'd gotten home and parked in our front driveway. As I was getting stuff out of the back seat, a guy wearing a ski mask was suddenly standing by the back of my car with a paintball gun. He shot at me several times, although I don't think it was loaded. I yelled for Chad, and he ran off around the back of my house. I have no idea what his motive was, and he never spoke. Even after I asked him several times what he thought he was doing. I was about to smack him with one of my freezer meals from enrichment tonight when I decided to yell for Chad instead. Okay, so there's that. And I have a bunch of new updates, new and older. They're all from like the last few weeks of updates, all compiled in one. There's some interesting stuff. We see Chad smack Lori in the butt and the storage unit video where I'm pretty sure he's smacking her in the butt. So I play that. So make sure you watch till the end and you'll see that part. You'll just see a bunch of stuff, that just all the stuff that has came out in the last 2 weeks. I just kind of just put it all, compiled it all into this video. So hopefully you guys enjoy it. Well, not enjoy it necessarily, because look at what we're talking about here, but you know what I mean. A lot of you guys are interested in this case. So hopefully you'll learn something new, and maybe it'll open your eyes to something, or at the very least it's very interesting. So, okay guys, let's get into it. Hey guys, welcome to my channel. Okay, so today's gonna be just all the updates from the Lori and Chad Daybell case. So some of them might be old. I mean, not old. I'm gonna basically try to give all the updates since my last Lori one, not the court one, but basically since last week, just all the new stuff that's came out. So and then some interesting stuff. I mean, this case just, it seems like there's just a new thing almost every day, or every couple days there's something new that's going on that they're figuring out. So okay, so the first thing I want to talk about is how Chad Daybell increased his wife Tammy's life insurance not too long before she died, I guess. That doesn't look good. I mean, doesn't look good at all. I'm going to read you a couple of these parts. It says, Tammy Daybell died in her Salem home on Saturday. Her viewing was held 2 days later in Utah. And by Tuesday afternoon, she was buried in the Springville Evergreen Cemetery. So basically it's kind of showing how quick that happened. She died Saturday, and it wasn't like an expected death. It was an unexpected death. So I mean, it just, well, to everybody else, we don't know if Chad was planning this. I mean, I don't want to speculate, but hopefully we'll find out. I mean, they're doing the autopsy, so hopefully they'll be able to find out something. But what this is kind of showing you is that maybe it wasn't so unexpected as far as Chad. She died Saturday and then buried Tuesday, so that's 3 days. She died 3 days later, she was buried. So it says many in attendance were alarmed at how fast funeral arrangements had been made and executed, especially considering Tammy's death was unexpected. She was healthy, working as the librarian at the Central Elementary School in Sugar City, and was actively involved at church. One man who attended the service agreed to speak to EastIdahoNews.com if we did not use his name. He's known the Daybells for years and is in their Latter-day Saint ward congregation. So this is what he has to say. He said, it was really weird because the casket wasn't even there. It all came together so quick and felt rushed. There weren't a lot of people at the service, he recalls. But yeah, because I mean, with that short a notice, 3 days, 9 days after Tammy's death, Chad published an essay titled Moving into the Second Half of My Life in the Latter-day Saints A Vow, which is another voice of warning. It's a Global Initiative newsletter. So the first section of his post was sent to eastidahonews.com. Okay, so here is the essay that he wrote. So this was 9 days after she died. It says, it's called Moving into the Second Half of My Life. My dear wife, Tammy, passed away in her sleep early Saturday, October 19th. When I woke at around 6 a.m., it was clear she had been gone for several hours. It came as a shock. I couldn't believe I hadn't been awakened somehow, but all indications are that her spirit simply slipped away during the night. Her face looked serene, with her eyes closed and a slight smile. It was devastating to discover her that way. I'm so grateful that her death was peaceful. Tammy really was the anchor of our family and our publishing business. We have worked side by side from the moment we were married in the Manti Temple in 1990. It is safe to say I never would have become an author without her faith in me and her constant encouragement. Tammy herself wasn't a visionary woman, but she believed what I told her and trusted my decisions. She often said that she felt like Lehi's wife Sariah in the Book of Mormon, where her faith was often tested by the unexpected twists and turns of our lives. But she was grateful when the Lord would fulfill the promises that had been made regarding our family. She had a brilliant mind, especially when it came to computers. She wore so many hats in our company, from being chief financial officer to operating our websites to designing book covers. I'm still sorting out how I'm going to cope with this tremendous loss, but thankfully I have a son whose mind works like Tammy's and will be able to muddle through these tasks, although not as efficiently as she did. Stepping into the future. Tammy conveyed to me several messages and I'm in the process of implementing what she has told me to do. She has indicated that my life has two parts that were planned even before I came to Earth. She was meant to... Okay, so where's the rest of it? Okay, so I guess... I don't know. Where's the rest of it? I guess that it doesn't show you the whole thing, or am I just... silly and I can't find it. Anyway, it looks like, I don't know, I can't, it just cut off right there, so I guess that's all we get of the essay. Unless if that's supposed to be the end, I guess it could be like, I guess it could be she was meant to, let's say, so she has indicated that my life has two parts that were planned even before I came to Earth. She was meant to, and then it's ... so maybe that is the end of it, because it's like, oh, it's the future, so it still has to be written, you know. Oh, I don't know. So that's that. Let me finish here. So 5 days after the post was emailed to AVAL subscribers, Chad married Lori Vallow on Hawaii Beach. Court documents show he received $430,000 in life insurance money after Tammy died. Multiple sources say the funds came from several policies, and Chad made significant increases to at least one policy before Tammy passed away. So a few weeks after Tammy died, a close friend of the Daybell children said she had a conversation with one of their sons. She said, we were talking about how his family is doing, and he told me his dad remarried. She says, I thought it was a joke because he kind of laughed about it afterward. I laughed and he said, no, I'm serious. My dad went to Hawaii on a business trip and met a widow and they just got married. And we know that's a lie. I mean, if you guys watched my interview with Julie Rowe, she explained how they had met like the year prior in one of their, what is it called? One of their events for that preparing of people. They had like speakers and stuff, and I guess they were together talking like a year prior, and I think they met at one of those, one of their gatherings or whatever, where they have like the speakers and stuff. I think she said Chad was speaking, and so they met somehow at one of those gathering type things, and that was like a year before, so they may have been having an affair for a year before this all happened, or maybe not quite a year. If they met like, well, if they met the year prior, then who knows when the affair started. But obviously it looks like the affair was going on when Tammy was still alive, and you know, he was still married to Tammy, and also when Charles was still alive, because you'll see this email thing I'm going to read to you. So it just makes you wonder how much planning was Chad behind the planning of Charles's death too, and then was Lori behind the planning of Tammy's death, because that's her MO. I mean, think about it. She has Alex, first of all, try to get rid of her third husband, Joseph Ryan, and then he ends up dying from a heart attack. But then she has her brother shoot Charles the next year, and then her brother was involved with her niece's plan to, well, who knows? I mean, I feel like it's probably Lori. It was probably Lori's idea put into her niece's head, like, hey, we can make some money, you know, just Alex will take care of it, and we'll get the life insurance money. I mean, come on. That's not just a coincidence that Alex shoots Charles and then Brandon gets shot at too, and here, come to find out, it was probably Alex that was shooting at Brandon. What's the motive here? The life insurance, yeah. So then the guy that she marries, that she was seen talking to and hanging out with a year prior at these events, his wife dies, and then a couple weeks later she marries him? I mean, that's not a coincidence. There's no way that's a coincidence. So it makes me wonder how much knowledge that Chad has. Is he involved? Does he know? Like, does he have all this knowledge of exactly what's going on, or is she manipulating him and just lying to him, or is he involved just as much as her? That's what makes me wonder. I mean, it would be hard not to, with all this stuff out in the open. I mean, Chad would ask her, but wonder if she's lying to him. But there's no way. He has to be at least somewhat involved as far as Tammy. So if he went along with that, then she would have, I'm sure she told him about what she did to Charles, and I don't know. It's a mess, and it makes me nervous because whatever they did to Tammy, what if it's something that is not going to show up in the autopsy? I mean, what if they had it? Because I mean, isn't there ways to do it where they could use something that maybe not show up? And like, what if he gets away with it? That's the thing. Like, because those aren't his kids, so it looks like Lori's either going to have to produce the kids, and even if the kids are alive, she should be getting in trouble for Charles's death and then Tammy. But I'm saying, if they can't prove that there was foul play with Tammy, and whether or not, let's say she does produce the kids or she doesn't produce the kids, either she produces the kids, and what a miracle, how awesome would that be? And then whatever charges she gets, and then she's out soon after that, and then Chad never has to face any consequences for what he did to Tammy and being involved with that. Or let's say they don't find the kids, and then Lori spends her life in jail and she gets punished for that, but then Chad's out, and then what if he remarries, or he just is out to live his life with all that money, he has all the life insurance money, and they're not, I mean, what if they're not able to prove that there was foul play with Tammy? And then they can't get him on charges for Lori's kids. It just makes me upset, because what if he just gets away with it? And I know she's probably the more evil one and the mastermind behind everything. But if he's going along with it, he's got a part in it too. You know, I know that there has to be foul play with Tammy. There's no way that just happened like that so perfectly, like at that time. Like what, a few months after Charles dies, and Lori probably thought maybe she was going to get some life insurance money through Charles. I know Charles's parents were on Dr. Phil last week, and they said that she thought she was gonna get the life insurance. Like, she thought she was gonna get it. She didn't know that he switched it to hit basically what his mom, right? I think that's what was it, his mom or his sister? I heard his sister, but then on Dr. Phil, I swear they said that they gave it to his mom. I thought that's what they said, but regardless, it wasn't going to go to Lori anymore. Said that wow, like that really screwed her plan up because she was expecting that. So maybe that's why they just got so desperate. They didn't have any money, and she didn't get anything from Charles that she was expecting. So maybe that's when she concocted this plan to get rid of Tammy for the insurance money. So instead of Chad just divorcing Tammy, she was screwed. She was expecting that money, and she's probably going to go run away with Chad, and maybe that's whether the plan with Tammy was before that anyway, or maybe, you know, he was just going to leave her, but because of that, she comes up with this plan. They need money, so he ups the life insurance, and then whatever they did to her. So, but I don't know whether or not that they were planning that anyway, or maybe it was because of the Charles switching his policy, so Lori wasn't the beneficiary. So I mean, hopefully we do get some answers. As far as relying on Lori for answers, no, we're not going to get anything from her. It's going to have to come from Chad, if anything. So that's why I wish they had something to charge him, something to pressure him, to get him to talk, because I don't think it'll be as hard to get him to talk for some reason. I really don't. And maybe after, let's say she does get convicted for, you know, that she basically gets put away for a long time. Chad realizes, okay, wow, well, I'm not going to be able to see her. It'll be a good chunk of her life. Then maybe he will talk. So right now she's got him under the control. Like, he probably would do anything for her. He's like infatuated with her, I feel like. So it might take her going to jail for a very, very long time, and then July passing, because we need to get through July, so they realize it's not going to be the end of the world, and then maybe he'll talk after that. But I don't know why they might not talk until July if they really believe this so strongly. Then, but if you think about it, that trial, if they, you know, Lori, the trial probably wouldn't at least be for a year or so. So at least I don't know. Some trials, it's weird because some trials take longer. Like, it'll be like, sometimes it's like 2 or 3 years, and sometimes it's 5-6 months. So but I have a feeling with this one it might. Well, I don't know. I mean, you would think it would take long because all the craziness and all the factors, so many different things. But then they might want to speed it up because there's kids involved that we don't even know for sure if they're okay or not. So they might want to speed it up so they could figure it out and get to the kids quicker. Unless I don't know. I wonder what the police and investigators and the FBI, like, wonder what they're thinking. Like, do they know more than we know, and they know that they're alive or they're not alive? Or wonder what, you know, how much they know and what they're thinking by, you know, do they know, like, maybe they do know some information they're not sharing with us, that they are alive or that they're not alive. It just makes you wonder, because you know they know a lot more than we know, and they might know right now, like, kind of have an idea if they're alive or not. Okay, so let me finish it. They're rambling on again. Sorry, guys. Okay, so this talks about how he made the significant increases to her life insurance policy, man, before she died. So that's a huge red flag. Like, when somebody sees that there's an increase in the life insurance and then the person dies, like, in an unexpected and weird way, because she was healthy. I heard she was training for a marathon. I mean, she seemed to be healthy. Not to say that healthy people don't die sometimes, but it's just weird. All the things, just everything together, it makes for a very suspicious thing here. And the fact that he may have increased it before she died, I mean, that doesn't look good right there. Like, he knew she was going to die. And of course, you know, he could use the defense that, oh, he has these visions, so he knew. And, you know, Julie comes into that picture too, because she had those visions. So he could actually possibly use that as a defense of why he did increase it, because he knew, because these visions. In reality, even Julie made, and I think it was on the Inside Edition, right, where she made the comment where she said that, Chad said that Tammy wasn't a part of his plan. Like, he had to get rid of her because she wasn't a part of his plan for the next part of his life or whatever. I forget the actual quote. I'll have to look that up to actually quote exactly how it was said. So the friend of the Daybell's son or kids, man, every time I'm down here, I get stuffed up. There's something, I don't know. I hope there's not like mold or something. And like, I'll be totally fine. And the minute I come down here, and this is weird. See if anybody could help me out on this one. If I'm just sitting down here, like, let's say I'm on my laptop, or I'm not talking, I'm not recording a video, and I'm just sitting down here on my phone or doing anything else, no symptoms at all. But when I start recording, so I don't know if it's because I'm recording or because I'm talking. I don't know what it is, but it just seems like as soon as I hit the record button and start recording, I start getting stuffed up. My nose starts getting itchy. My eyes start getting itchy. And then when I go upstairs, I'm fine. But it's only when I come down here and I hit record. It's like, but like I said, I don't know if it's because when I hit record and I record, then I'm talking. So I don't know if that has something to do with it, me talking a lot. Or if it's, how weird, if it's something to do with recording. I'm allergic to recording. I don't know. So I'm sorry if I'm sniffing or it sucks because I do all my recording down here, and so I'm always going to sound all stuffed up. I got to find a new spot or find out why. I'm wondering if there's maybe mold or something. Do you guys have any ideas what it could be? I know a few years ago it flooded down here, so I wonder if somehow there's mold or something. I don't know, guys, but it gets annoying because it's hard. Just, oh, you know, when you're talking and you're stuffed up, and then it just sucks because all my videos, unless if I do a voiceover and I'm upstairs recording, then I won't be stuffed up. But if I'm down here recording, I'm always going to be stuffed up and always going to be sniffling. So sorry, I got sidetracked here. Okay, so let me get back to this. So the friend of Chad and Tammy, their kids, I guess, their children, well, they're all grown now, but one of the friends was saying how one of his, did it say son or, yeah, Chad's son, about how he was telling her how he got remarried. She thought it was like kind of a joke, but he said, no, I'm serious. And so yeah, he said, my dad went to Hawaii on the business trip, met a widow, and they just got married. So it sounds like Chad was trying to basically lie to his kids, making it seem like I don't know, it does sound like the way they're wording it. I don't know if he's saying that he just met her on a business trip prior and then they got married in Hawaii, or if he actually said that he just met her in Hawaii on that business trip and they got married. Yeah, it sounds like the way it's worded, my dad went to Hawaii on a business trip and met a widow and they just got married. So he's telling them, they just went to a business trip, he meets this widow and they get married. I mean, how believable is that anyway? So basically he was lying to his kid, but I guess he can't exactly, well, he could if he was a man, but he doesn't want to exactly tell his kids that, oh yeah, I met her prior, because then it looks bad, because to say that he met her when Tammy was still alive, his wife, and then it would be kind of obvious that maybe he was having an affair on their mother, and then with her dying, it would bring up all kinds of crazy stuff. So he lies instead. He says, oh, I just met her on this trip to Hawaii and got married. Yeah, wonder if they believed him. You know, I mean, obviously now they know what's going on, but wonder if they believed him when he told them that he just met her and then they got married. But anyway, the friend wasn't sure how to respond, and since the Daybell children were not happy their father had remarried so quickly. I'll never forget, he said, my dad's not a bad guy. He just done some bad things. She says, I remember calling my mom that night and telling her how weird it was that Chad's wife hadn't been in the ground a month and he's already married again. Chad and Lori stayed in Hawaii a few weeks after their wedding, but returned to Rexburg mid-November. And members of the Daybell's ward were stunned Chad was involved. It's so different than how he has ever acted before, one member says. I think everyone was just caught off guard and couldn't believe it. A lot of people think we were defending Chad in the beginning, but it was more about loving and supporting our neighbors in a Christ-like way. And I think that's what Julie was doing. I know she got a lot of heat because everybody's like, oh, well, she was supporting him and then now she's not, you're changing her story. But no, it's more that that was her friend, that she really thought, no, he has a good heart, he wouldn't do anything, he's a good person, from what she knew of him. And then as time goes on and she sees, wow, look how he's acting different, and look at some of the stuff that's coming out about him. And then she started realizing, well, maybe I don't know him that well. Maybe he isn't the person I thought. So I don't think it was necessarily her changing her story just to, like her motive or her intention was bad. It was just that at first that was her friend. And think about a friend that you have that you thought was a really good person and you never would think they would do something like that. And yeah, maybe you had a falling out, but you wanted to support them because one fight or one falling out, it shouldn't determine your whole experience with that person. Like, it shouldn't be like, well, he's got to be a bad person because, you know, we had a falling out and he was a jerk to me the last time and we don't talk anymore, so he must be a bad person. But no, you just give the person a benefit of the doubt and remember the whole relationship. And like, okay, well, he was a good person, he had a good heart. Like she was saying, at least what she knew him, she only knew him a few years, but what she thought, he was a good guy and that he would never do anything like that. I'm not going to sit there and talk crap about him just because we had this fight and he was a jerk to me on the end. But then as more stuff is coming out and time is passing and he is not telling anybody where the kids are, he's not helping, and he's letting this go on, things are coming out and you're starting to have doubts about him. So she's probably starting to have doubts about him and then thinking, wow, maybe I don't really know him that well. Maybe something got into her, you know, so she started changing her opinion. The thing is I don't see anything wrong with that. I don't think the intention or motive was in a bad way. Like, she changed because it was for some bad intention, like it was some like some plan or something. I just think it was just an honest thing. At first she was just saying, no, that's not the guy I know, he wouldn't hurt any kids. Like, I seen him with his family and he was such a good dad and a good husband, and look how he was just so loving. I would never see him hurt any kids. But then as new information is coming out and you're hearing things that you wouldn't expect, like, well, she's probably thinking, wow, he's with this girl that her kids are missing. He's got to know what's going on, and he won't speak. He won't tell anybody. He's staying with her. They're not telling anybody where the kids are. He's, just things like that. So maybe she thought, you know what, I'm going to come out and be honest. If he's going to be a jerk like that, and we got 2 kids here, and he's just going to sit there and not help find the kids, then yeah, I'm going to be honest with how he was, and how he was a jerk to me in the end. Because maybe this has something to do with how he is now. Like, yeah, I thought he was a good guy, but maybe something switched, and that's why he was a jerk to me. And maybe it was her after he met her, and he just turned into this jerk. And so maybe she realized, no, I guess it would be better, maybe even helpful, to tell people how he was a jerk. But at first, maybe she thought it was just gonna be the guy she thought he was and come forward and either leave Lori or help or tell people where the kids are, or they were gonna produce the kids, or, you know. And then when he wouldn't do it and things were looking scary and things were looking like, whoa, maybe he is involved, or maybe he did do something, then she wanted to give the information she had about how he kind of changed to help the situation. That's how I look at it, and it makes sense to me. But anyway, so like they say, the members of Chad's ward, which I guess that's what their church, something to do with the Latter-day Saints. It must be the group that he's in for him. I don't know if it's the whole church. I don't know how that works, but I know it has something to do with the church. So he said, I think everyone was just caught off guard and couldn't believe it, because even they were defending Chad in the beginning, but it was more about just loving and supporting the neighbors in a Christ-like way. So it was more like, wow, first of all, they thought, you know, he had a good heart, and that's not how he normally acted. I mean, he was normally a good person, like at least they thought. So it was just so different than what we're seeing now. They're just saying, like, we weren't defending him. We're not defending what he's doing right now, but they were just defending who he was with them and how he was a good person. Well, they thought he was, what they saw. And I think that's the same thing that Julie was doing. I want to talk about Chad Daybell's younger brother actually spoke out a little bit. Basically, he did a kind of an interview with East Idaho News, I think it was. Yeah, he made a public statement to East Idaho News. Okay, so Chad's younger brother is deeply saddened by what has happened over the past few months and has pleaded with Chad to tell authorities where his two missing stepchildren are. Matt Daybell, which is Chad's younger brother, he issued his first public statement to EastIdahoNews.com on Friday, saying it represents the views of him, his wife, and children, not his extended family or parents. He addressed the circumstances surrounding Chad and his deceased wife, Tammy Daybell. So this is his statement that actually he sent to East Idaho News. It says, due to the circumstances surrounding the unknown whereabouts of J.J. Vallow and Tylee Ryan and the suspicious death investigation of Tammy Daybell, I feel I must make an official statement at this time. My name is Matt Daybell. My wife is Heather Daybell. We have been residents of the Rexburg area for over 15 years. Chad Daybell is my oldest brother. I have not seen nor directly spoken to Chad since Tammy's memorial here in Rexburg on October 23rd, 2019. Since that time, I have texted Chad twice. Once when I heard from a neighbor of his quick marriage to Lori Vallow, expressing to him my shock and dismay at this news. Second, just recently pleading with Chad to cooperate with authorities and reveal the whereabouts of his new stepchildren. I have not been close to Chad since childhood. My immediate family has had little association with Chad the last many years due to our concerns with his religious claims and particular books he had chosen to publish, including his own. We are deeply saddened at the recent events that have played out the last several months. It is our hope and prayer that JJ and Tylee are safe. We want for the truth to be found, whatever the truth turns out to be. Neither I nor my wife and children have any more information than what has been reported by the news media. I plead again for Chad to come forward and cooperate with the investigation so that this very difficult situation might be resolved. My wife and I ask for privacy for us and for our children and will not be given any further comments at this time. So I guess that doesn't give you too much information, just the fact that he's trying to reach out to his brother. Chad's not responding, and the fact that they really haven't been that close since they've been kids, he said. And yeah, basically I guess his religious beliefs have really made his family kind of distance themselves from him, it sounds like. But because Tammy was into the same beliefs as Chad, I'm sure, and then he has his 5 kids, so that means, wow, his brother didn't really have a relationship with him, with his family, just because of his religious beliefs? Huh. So that makes me wonder, was Chad not raised a Mormon, or wonder how Chad was raised and like what religion, and who got him into the Church of Latter-day Saints. Like who got him into that religion. If it sounds like, well, I don't know, association last many years. I don't know, it's hard to tell from that statement if his family was raised and he just raised the same religion and the same church, but then he's just talking about maybe his books because they kind of maybe go against some of the stuff. Like Julie Rose said, those books, she got excommunicated because of her books. So maybe that's what he's talking about. Maybe he is a part of the church and those books kind of go against what they teach. But then I wonder why they haven't excommunicated him for the books then. You know, because he was a big part of the church up until, I mean, I think he's still a member, right? I don't know with all this going on, maybe not, but up until this stuff, but it doesn't sound like it has anything to do with the books. If the church would, I mean, they basically were accepting to him even after the books. So does anybody know? I'm just curious if he was raised in the Church of Latter-day Saints, because Lori was, which I didn't realize that. I don't know when I realized that. Was it last week or whatever? I don't know. Or maybe it was a couple weeks ago. I don't know, but I didn't know this whole time. I didn't know like months ago. I thought she got into the that church and that religion like as an adult. I didn't realize she was actually raised Mormon. She was raised a member of the Church of the Latter-day Saints, which, like I said, I didn't realize that till a couple weeks ago. So all this rambling, my point is, of all this rambling is, I wonder if Chad was raised in the church, in that same church, or different. Because it just sounds kind of like maybe he got into it later because of this statement, unless if he's just talking about his other beliefs or something. Let me know what you guys know, if you know anything about him. I would like to try to, I guess, maybe learn a little bit more about Lori or his history. Because now that I'm thinking about it, I don't even know. And I mean, he has one brother, and how many other brothers does he have? I didn't even know he had one brother until this statement. So, and then Lori, well, we know Lori has at least, she has another brother, I know, and then Alex. And then does she have any other siblings? I don't know. Because Lori's niece, now, Melanie is her other brother's daughter, right? I mean, I know he's not Alex's daughter, so it's got to be her other brother's daughter. Okay, so, well, talking about Lori's niece, I wanted to talk about Melanie. So, the niece, Lori Vallow Daybell, and as we see in her court appearance, she wants to be called Lori Daybell, which makes sense because she's married to him now. But, so, Melanie claims that she does not know the location of the two missing Rexburg kids, and the statements made by her ex are false. Because remember, Brandon Bordeaux said that she knew where the kids were, and just a couple of some of the statements, I guess, that she made. But wasn't that her other husband said that too? Didn't her other husband make a couple statements, which made me kind of wonder, because I'm like, why would he say that? When I first heard some of the stuff he said, it made me think that she wasn't with him anymore, because why would he say that stuff if she was still with him? So I'm gonna have to go back and read that article, unless if I was reading it wrong and it was actually Brandon that was saying that. I mean, why did he say that she knew where the kids were? Let me finish reading it. So Melanie Pawlowski, so that's her new name. She appeared in Mesa, Arizona court with attorneys Robert Jarvis and Garrett Smith on Thursday afternoon for an ongoing child custody case between her and her ex, Brandon Bordeaux. Brandon did not attend the closed hearing, and Pawlowski did not make any comments to the media. After the hearing, she stood behind Smith and Jarvis outside the courthouse, and her lawyers gave a brief statement after taking questions from reporters. So I don't know why Brandon didn't go to his court hearing. He missed it.
Do you have any information or detail on where they are?
We're going to give a full presentation once the judge gets done. I'm hoping that everybody.
When is the last time you spoke to Lori Vallow?
And that has to look bad. Why didn't he go? And it makes you wonder. Oh, I mean, we know it. Melanie and Lori are the crazy ones, but why wouldn't he have showed up? Wonder if he made some arrangements, because that just doesn't seem like a smart thing to do when you're trying to get custody of your kids, but then you just don't show up. So I'm not sure what that's about. But reporters specifically asked about child custody documents recently filed by Brandon that claim Pawlowski knows where the 7-year-old JJ Vallow and 17-year-old Tylee Ryan are. I don't know that Melanie has an opinion about any of that, other than it's what some people are saying. That's what she said. Smith told Fox 10 Phoenix, "Here's one of the problems that we have with questions like that. You're taking material that is taken from a divorce pleading filed by an ex who has, as we have seen in this case, motivation to lie, to withhold evidence, to behave in a very bad way." The day before the child custody hearing, Pawlowski's attorney sent a news release to East Idaho News denying the claims made by Brandon in court documents filed last week. So, I mean, we know that Melanie has got to be some kind of crazy, because of the fact that she tried to have her husband killed and probably was with Alex when he tried to kill him, and the fact that she's following in Lori's footsteps kind of in a way, you know. So we know that something's just not right with her, but then as far as Brandon, we don't really know anything about him, so I can't say either way on him, because there's nothing, I mean, we don't really know. So, I mean, I guess we don't know much about her either. We just know kind of what we're hearing in the media. But with Brandon, I mean, we're hearing some crazy stuff about Melanie, and then Melanie's coming back saying some, bad stuff about Brandon. So for me to just say, oh, it's all Melanie, I mean, I can't just take a side. I don't know who's who. I mean, I know it does seem like the instances that Melanie was involved in, it's but what if it's one of those cases where they're both liars and they're both just crazy? I don't want to say that. I don't know. I'm just gonna read it and just keep my comments about this situation to myself, I guess, because I don't know enough. I really don't. But it kind of disappointed me that he didn't show up for court. But maybe there's more to it that we just don't know. But then it just makes you wonder, well, I don't understand. Why didn't he show up? Is there something we don't know and we're missing here? Because we automatically are just basically thinking he's the good guy, she's the bad guy. But what if in some of these situations they're all like both bad? Like, what if, oh, this one's not necessarily good just because this one's bad? You know what I'm saying? And I'm not saying Brandon's bad. Gosh, I got this all mixed up. I'm just saying that I guess when he didn't show up for court, it made me start second guessing, like, well, what if he's not so good either? I mean, they both could be kind of, I don't know. I guess we know for sure she is trying to kill her husband, geez, for money. I mean, that's just, that's not right. Where am I at? Okay, other claims made by Brandon include that his ex-wife knows about an attempt on his life in Gilbert, Arizona on October 2nd. Brandon said a Jeep registered to Daybell's dead husband, Charles Vallow, was used in the shooting. Police in Idaho seized the vehicle. So I wonder if it was confirmed that that really was the car used. Because then it makes me wonder, did he just assume because he knew that's what they drove and he figured she was a part of it and that's what he would be driving, or did he really see that Jeep? I'm sure he probably did, because I mean, to me it's most likely Alex, because I mean, look, it's got to be Alex, the shooter. It really does. Whether Melanie was with him or not, I mean, I really do believe that he was the one that tried to shoot at him. So, Brandon also indicated Pawlowski was involved in a religious cult along with Daybell. So, I wonder if Melanie met her new man through this cult or this group of people, or did she bring him into it? In response to those claims, Pawlowski's attorneys made some serious allegations of their own. First, they said Pawlowski has cooperated and provided multiple interviews to the FBI that have lasted several hours. The attorneys also claim Brandon has a history of victimizing women. Dark and extremely... Well, I swear, before, I didn't even read this whole article. I didn't read... Wow, because sometimes I just want to read it for my first time on the video. I mean, sometimes I'll skim an article before I read it. Sometimes I'll read it all and then just kind of take notes on what I want to talk about. And sometimes I'll just read like what the title is, what it's supposed to be about, and just be like, oh, I'm going to read it for my first time, get my first reaction as I'm recording. And this was one of those that I didn't even read this before I write. I mean, this is my first time reading this article. And see, he does, I mean, they're claiming some stuff about Brandon. So that's what I was saying. I just had a feeling that maybe, yeah, Melanie is crazy. I mean, for trying to kill your husband. And I feel like she's bad. Yeah, she is. But Brandon, that doesn't mean necessarily because she's bad that Brandon's good and that he hasn't done anything. And I don't know, I just had a feeling, well, maybe, because I don't know, I guess with him not showing up to court, that's what kind of made me start thinking, well, what if he's really not that good of a person either, and he does some stuff too? And now, like I said, now these are claims, it doesn't have to necessarily be true. We don't know, this is what they're claiming, but usually there's some truth in this stuff. So I feel like maybe it's exaggerated and it's not 100% true, but I feel like there probably is some truth in this statement. Okay, so Brandon has a history of victimizing women, uses dark and extreme pornography, engages in homosexual affairs, and his family participates in cover-ups related to organized crime. The attorneys say Pawlowski confronted Bordeaux, which caused him to retaliate. So, confronted Bordeaux with proof. Oh, cramp, leg cramp. Gosh, because when I sit down here for hours recording, sometimes I forget to stand up and stretch my legs, and I'm getting one. Okay, so, wow, that's a pretty bold accusation. I mean, if it's not true. So Pawlowski confronted Brandon with this stuff, I guess, which is why they're saying that's why he's retaliating. But as far as him getting shot at, I mean, he hasn't said too much stuff. I feel like the one thing that I guess the thing that I find the most important is the fact that he got shot at. Somebody tried to kill him. So, I mean, and that happened. I mean, how is that retaliating? I mean, he's just telling what happened. But maybe he's talking about him saying that Melanie knows where the kids are and the other stuff he was saying. I don't know what he means by retaliating, but oh, here we go. Sometimes if I would just keep reading, the answer is in the next paragraph. Okay. So Brandon retaliated with threats to attack her and to take her kids away, Smith said in the news release. He has carried through with his threats by lying in his court documents. Sadly and irresponsibly, much of the media has quoted Brandon's biased, vindictive, and fake accusations as truth and fact when they are his resentful, vengeful, and dishonest efforts to get full custody of Melanie's children. Following the reported shooting, Bordeaux gained emergency custody of his children in Arizona court. He fled the state and went into hiding. He said that he feared for his life. Since the news broke, Brandon has given just one interview with Fox 13 News in Salt Lake City. So that doesn't seem like much. I mean, I don't know. I don't blame him. If somebody tried to kill me and shoot me and I have a good reason to believe it was my wife, then yeah, or my wife set it up, you know, it was her planning, then yeah, I think I would go into hiding too. And I think I would want to keep my kids from you too. So if that's your retaliation, then heck yeah, I don't think he did anything wrong. Now, I don't know what he's done in the past and other stuff that he's done, but right there, then no, he had every right. I mean, I do not blame him for taking the kids. I wouldn't want my kids with somebody that tried to kill me for money. No. So, no, I don't blame him for that. And the fact that he's only given one interview, it says, so it's not like he's trying to speak out a bunch to retaliate. He's just trying to get the truth so people know. Like, he just gave one interview so they knew what was going on and what type of people these are. And it could actually even help with the investigation and to help find JJ and Tylee. Because if they kind of realize how serious this is, that they are trying to kill people, and then if they could show that, then they could, it probably would help showing that Charles's death might not have been self-defense, and then it could possibly help to get Lori arrested like she is. And it, I mean, just help the whole case. I don't put that past him. But what I don't understand, I still don't understand why he missed that court date. Does anybody know? Because I know that was like last week. I'll have to look into if it was alright, did he get in trouble for that or what? So despite having custody, Jarvis said Brandon taking the children out of Arizona is unlawful and a violation of a court order. Yeah, but I'm sorry, I'll get a violation of to keep my kids safe, you know? I'd rather have them safe, hide out, who cares about the violation, because at least they're safe with me. The Bordeaux family, I know I'm probably saying that wrong, but oh well. The Bordeaux family continues to unlawfully keep Melanie's children out of school and in a home with an abusive history, he said. Unfortunately, law enforcement has failed to search for the truth and has given into manipulations of Brandon Bordeaux. So, now, see, I don't see all that. What manipulations? They're the... Lori and Melanie, I mean, they're the ones manipulating, I think. I mean, as far as what I was talking about earlier, I was just saying that just because Melanie's maybe bad doesn't mean that Brandon's just this saint, but I still don't think him taking the kids and hiding out, there's anything wrong with that. And I don't think he used manipulation in what they're saying that he did. Now, maybe there's other things, but as far as taking the children out of Arizona, that's not manipulating, I don't think. What do you guys think? Wouldn't you want to keep them safe? Because that's what they're saying, keeping the children out of school and in a home with an abusive history. An abusive history, but you're the one that tried to kill him. That's what I don't understand. So is he abusing the kids? But it looks like the grandparents are taking care of the kids, so I feel like maybe... Is there abuse going on? Well, maybe they should go check and make sure, but I think they're probably safer there. Without offering any evidence of his claims, Smith also accused Brandon's family of covering up child molestations, drug addictions, kidnappings, assaults, and killings. What? What is going on? Who the heck are these people? Yeah, I'm saying without offering any evidence. So that's some big claims to not have any evidence. These poor kids, they can't win for, I mean, to have a father like that. If this stuff, I mean, if this is really true, I mean, who knows? Because I don't know if I trust what that Melanie girl says. They have a mother that, oh, wow, how old are their kids? They have 4 kids if I'm remembering right. Man, maybe they should look into it, make sure that they're safe with that side too. I mean, unless they're just lying, but for the lawyer to say that, I just feel like there's probably some truth to it. It might be exaggerated, but there probably is some truth, and that's some serious stuff. So even some of it, or it could be exaggerated, but even being mildly true is pretty serious. Even if half of it's true, it's pretty serious. So, man, what is wrong with this world? I don't understand what What is wrong with people? I don't get it. I don't get it. Is it... I mean, is it always been like this? And now there's just so many more people, so of course there's gonna be more violence. There's gonna be more things like this happening because you're increasing the people, then you're increasing this stuff, right? And then now that we have a way to instantly communicate about it, that we're hearing it quicker and more often, but not necessarily because it's happening more often, but maybe because there's more people. So it is not happening more often because there's more people, but I don't know if there's probably not more. It's like all relative, you know. So if you take the, you know, statistically how much of a percentage of the population is probably the same as it ever was, you know. It's just more people, so more stuff like this going on. But still, I still think there might be an increase because I don't know, I just feel like kids that they're not going outside, they're not socializing like we used to when we were kids. When I was a kid, I was outside every day. I mean, we were playing with other kids, just using our energy and just being physical, using our imagination and just having fun and socializing. And now people are staying in and online and watching YouTube, playing video games. They're not socializing the same, at least. They're socializing through a computer, which is just, I guess it's just different socializing skills. It's different social skills than what we had. So, you know, they're brought up in a world where that is their social skills. The social media is a part of their social skills. To us, it's like, whoa, you guys don't have any social skills, because we're used to being like interacting with the people face to face. So to us, it's like, that's not social skills, but to them, that is. You know what I'm saying? It's just a different world. It's a different world. But it has to have different effects. I mean, it's going to produce different disorders. It's going to produce different problems. And so it's going to be, it will be different stuff, different problems than what we're used to. So yeah, I guess it is probably different, but it's too hard to compare. Probably, I don't know. I'm sure somebody's probably tried, right, for a project or something to compare like crime, but then it's just the crime's different. So I don't know. Okay, I'm not even getting into. All right, I think I just swallowed a spider. Oh my god! I was drinking. I took a sip of my coffee, but as I was drinking it, I saw it too late. Like oh my god. I was going to drink it, and by the time I saw it, it was already going in my mouth, and it was already like I was already in the process of drinking and swallowing it, and just swallowing it down. Oh my god, and it was like a whitish spider. Oh, that's crazy. Oh well, hopefully it wasn't still alive and crawling inside me. Now I know it'll die. But it's just gross to think of. Oh, anyway. Okay, let me finish this. I am getting way off track here. So, I guess they're claiming that Brandon's family is involved in this crime. Like this organized crime stuff. Who knows? I guess it wouldn't surprise me with this case. There's so many crazy things going on, it wouldn't surprise me. So, according to court documents filed by Brandon, Pawlowski's new husband, Ian... So Ian is Melanie's new husband, so she is remarried. So he told investigators his wife and her uncle, see, this is what I was talking about. It is her new husband. So why would he even say this? So listen, her new husband Ian told investigators his wife and her uncle Alex Cox conspired to kill Brandon. Police have not publicly made any indication on who shot at Brandon, but private investigator Rich Robertson, hired by Brandon, has suggested Cox pulled the trigger. So why would Ian tell the investigators that? I mean, you just wouldn't think that somebody's husband, and they're still married. new husband, and you see him, like, there's a video, I mean, you see him holding hands and stuff. Why would he say that? I mean, true or not, but why would you tell the investigator that? I mean, you wouldn't think it'd just be something that he would tell him. Or wonder if it's somehow they got it out of him or they asked. I mean, I guess, no, because you could always just not say. You know, I was going to say, well, if they asked, he had to answer, but not really. You don't have to answer if they ask. You could just, you have the right to remain silent, you know? So I guess it surprises me. And then I know I heard somebody say that she thought because Alex is dead, that basically that makes her, you know, good, like gives her like immunity somehow where she can't get in trouble for it. So was he silly enough to think that? So you think, oh, I'll tell him that because Alex is dead, so she can't get in trouble. But couldn't she still get in trouble for that? As I understand it, law enforcement has some pretty good evidence to put Alex at the drive-by. But if Cox did shoot at Brandon, who came to Rexburg's storage unit on the afternoon of August 2nd, the same day with Daybell, surveillance video shows her and another man, originally believed to be Cox, placing items into the unit. It's this footage that Pawlowski's attorneys say proves Cox was not involved in the shooting, which occurred at around 9:30 a.m. So it says, yeah, they reviewed airline schedules and also determined the drive from Gilbert to Rexburg at nearly 14 hours. So there was no airline, so he didn't take any flights, and then he wouldn't have time to do the drive. So it'd be impossible to be at both places on that date. So they're saying it was likely it was someone else at the storage unit that day, though a truck matching the description of Cox's appears on the camera October 6th. Okay, so why can't it be October 6th? Why can't it be Alex Cox, but not the one on the 2nd? Okay, so I recorded this a couple weeks ago, so new stuff has came out. For instance, East Idaho News, which are awesome, by the way, on this case. They've been reporting it so awesome. Like, I get a lot of my information from them as far as this case goes. So they just released enhanced video footage of the footage. Well, they even added more of the footage because some of the footage they show on this new one isn't what they released the first time. They didn't release some of the parts, but anyway, they enhanced it and released some extra parts where it shows that it looks like that's Chad the first time on October 2nd that comes to the storage unit with Lori. And if I'm remembering right, this would be 17 days before Tammy died. He's with Lori, but we knew that because Julie was saying how they were basically having an affair almost a year prior. But anyway, this is proof that he was with her before Lori died. Because Lori died on October 19th. This that looks like it's Chad, this is October 2nd, and you see him roll a tire in. That article I was previously just reading, because like I said, I recorded this a couple weeks ago, so it was kind of older, but they were saying how if that was Alex the first time on October 2nd, then it couldn't be him that was shooting at Brandon. So I think that's why they looked further into it and found out that that wasn't Alex at the storage unit, but it was him shooting at Brandon. I think it was, and I think a lot of people think the same thing. So, because he couldn't be in Arizona and Idaho at the same time. So, anyway, they think with this new enhanced video footage, it looks like that on the 2nd it is Chad. Did you guys just see that? I'm gonna play that again for you. It looks like Chad smacks her butt. You know how people in a relationship, they do that? It's like a playful, it's just something people do, you smack your butt. I swear it looks like he smacks her butt, which to me just confirms even more that that is Chad. And also I noticed how Chad has that walk where he kind of walks on his, like the front part of his foot rather than his heel, where he walks more on the balls of his feet. Not real bad, but he has a little bit of that, so, and you see that Alex doesn't. But yeah, just watch and let me know if I'm just imagining that he hits her butt. I swear, that's what it looks like to me. Let me know in the comments what you think. So now this is August 3rd. This is Lori and Alex. And you'll see Alex carry out the tire, which Chad rolled it, and Alex just carries it. You could tell, look at the way he's walking, look at his pants. He wears way baggier pants than Chad. He wears them lower, he like sags them. They're way too big. Chad's were more tighter fitting, and just how he walks. And then, yep, there's that car seat, and he carries it out by himself. Chad had to have help. But yeah, you could tell it's not the same guy. So they think that's Alex. So yeah, that's October 3rd. And that's his truck too, so. And then here is Alex and Chad, they believe. And now Chad and Lori again. I'll let the reporter from East Idaho News explain the whole car seat and tire thing and how it relates to the Jeep.
Now, if you're familiar with Jeeps, you know that many models have spare tires on the back, and if they are in place, the back window does not open. But if they are removed, that window does open. So it's possible that the Jeep used in that shooting had the tire removed, and that tire could have been placed into the storage unit along with the back seat of the Jeep. We would ask Alex Cox if that was the case, but we can't because he's dead, and police are not commenting. But if Cox was not in Rexburg, it's possible he was in Arizona, inside Charles Vallow's Jeep.
It says how he died, suspicious circumstances, on December 12th, and the police are investigating. So I think they're doing an autopsy on him too, so they'll be able to hopefully figure out what happened to him too, and maybe somehow be able to figure out who was with him that day, because if he was poisoned or something, I wonder if they'll be able to, I'm sure they're doing an investigation. They probably interviewed tons of people, but hopefully they're figuring out who was with him. Was Lori? Was Chad? Was anybody around him that could have slipped him something? As the reason to the shooting, Brandon claims and documents that Pawlowski hoped to, I'm just going to say Melanie, that's getting confusing. So Pawlowski is Melanie, remember. So Brandon claims and documents that Melanie hoped to cash in on a life insurance policy upwards of $1 million to fund a cult she became involved with, where numerous members, adults and children alike, have been killed off like flies. So, but why wouldn't he change the beneficiary to somebody else? I mean, why would she get it? Wouldn't he have changed it? Especially if they were having some crazy divorce and a custody battle. Melanie has never been associated with a cult, Jarvis said. Melanie is a lifetime member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, and her beliefs are consistent with the church. Melanie holds close to her belief in a loving God. She loves her children and respects life. Jarvis said Brandon's actions deprive the children of a necessary relationship with their loving mother. See, I don't know. I mean, maybe they should look into Brandon and make sure the kids are safe there. But I don't believe that Melanie's safe. I don't believe she's a loving mother. Like, I don't believe the kids should be with her either. I mean, I don't know about Brandon, but as far as her, I don't think that's a good idea. As far as him, maybe they should look into it and make sure that these claims that they're making on him, just to make sure that it's okay, you know? He said everyone is asking where Joshua and Tylee are, but why is no one asking the same question about Melanie's children? But so Melanie's children are with Brandon's parents still, probably, right? But yeah, I mean, these claims that Melanie's making about his family and Brandon's family, they definitely should check into it. They probably will, investigators, I'm sure, to make sure their children are safe. The Gilbert Police Department said the investigation of the shooting involving Brandon is ongoing. Department spokeswoman Brenda Carrasco said investigators contacted Melanie and they haven't identified her as a suspect in the case. We are unable to substantiate the claims made about Mrs. Pawlowski and the child custody court filings submitted by Mr. Bordereau, Carrasco said. Our investigators are continuing to follow up on all leads related to this case. So that's that. Okay, so one more thing I want to talk about. This is that suspicious email. I know they talked about this like a week ago. Sorry, like I said, I'm so behind on this, but maybe this will be new to some of you guys. But that suspicious email that Charles found that Lori wrote to Chad Daybell and claimed to be Charles, to invite him, you know, to stay with him. The weird thing is I'm a little bit confused. So did Charles ever meet Chad? I have a couple of questions and I don't know. I was trying to figure this out. Did Charles meet Chad, and for her to pretend to be Chad, or yeah, to be Chad, or to be Charles, so they're thinking that Chad knew that it was Lori, right? And that Charles never did meet Chad and she was just pretending it was Charles, maybe because to trick Tammy, like, so Chad could be like, oh yeah, look, Charles, he wants me to come stay with him and write a book or whatever, and then to lie to Tammy, because obviously Charles never met Chad, and that wouldn't even make sense for Lori to pretend to be Chad and Chad to really think it was Charles. So Chad knew it was Lori, right? And Charles never met Chad. I know I'm making this so confusing. But when Charles Mallow said, oh, she's pretending to be me, he didn't mean to Chad, right? Because then that would mean that they had met and stuff, you know, like Chad and Charles, and that they had talked and whatever. So if she was pretending to be Charles to even Chad, because that wouldn't make sense. So basically she was just pretending probably for Tammy, right? I don't know, I know I'm making this so confusing, but I just don't understand the point of this email. I don't think Chad and Charles knew each other, so I don't think it was like she could pretend that she's Charles to Chad and Chad was going to think it was Charles, because if you read the email, it's acting like they had already met and stuff. And if they haven't, that wouldn't make any sense. So Chad would be like, who the heck's Charles? So it had to be like a plan, right, of Lori and Chad. So who were they trying to trick? Not Charles, because if Charles read it, it would be like, oh, you're pretending to be me. So it was just, I think they were just trying to do that for Tammy, right? So he could show maybe Tammy, be like, hey, I'm going to go on this business thing and stay, or he wants me to write a book or whatever, right? Isn't that what that would be? Okay, let me read it.
Okay, so here's the email that Lori wrote to Chad, pretending to be Charles. Hello, Chad. I hope you are doing well. This is Charles Vallow from Arizona. We really enjoyed having you stay with us back in November when you came to the Preparing a People conference. I appreciated you taking the time to talk to me about the book I've been working on. Well, more than 6 months later, I still haven't made much progress on it, but I feel an urgency to get it done. As the manager partner of RITE Planning Group, I'm going to have the opportunity to speak at various conventions beginning in the fall, but everyone says I need to have a book available that summarizes my life and shares the principles I follow. So I will cut to the chase. I'm willing to pay you well to help me get this book into shape as my ghostwriter. I really liked your autobiography and the tone you took in sharing experiences without preaching. Is there any way you could come here for a couple of days and help me get the book underway? I feel like talking in person would be much more valuable than a phone call or a video chat, mainly because I would like you to read through some of my journals and explain to me how the publishing industry works. It would help me know whether I truly have a book in me and whether you want to team up on it. I played minor league baseball and I have plenty of stories that my audience could relate to, along with the knowledge I've gained running my own company. So I do feel the book would contain valuable information even beyond the convention circuit. I'm out of town until Saturday, but I would gladly fly you down here early next week before the holiday and cover your expenses. You could stay in our guest room like before, or in the hotel if you prefer. I hate to take you away from your family, but I know this book is vital to my speaking success. I understand if you don't want to take part in the project, but I would definitely make it worth your time. With admiration, Charles. So yeah, now it's making sense. So Chad knows that they're both in on it, and it looks like this is probably for Tammy, because it makes it look like that he already had spent like the weekend or spent time with him. So it probably will explain time that Chad has left and stayed with Lori, I'm sure, and told his wife he was staying, on business for this book with Charles. So it'll explain him being able to stay with Lori and then to get away again. So I think it was just mainly just to trick Tammy and show Tammy, and that's probably what they've been doing. I'm sure he's been pretending a lot of the times he's with Charles, it sounds like, because like I said, it says how they did it before in the letter. It says you could stay in our guest room like before. So I'm sure they used that as an excuse to Tammy before. So in his message to Adam Cox, so Charles writes Adam Cox, Lori's brother. Yeah, so Lori has a... See, I knew that. Oh my God, I'm tired. It's late at night. Usually when I record, I stay up all night. So by the end of it, I'm just kind of tired. I knew she had a brother. Well, I said, yeah, I think she has a brother. Because, yeah, this email thing. So he wrote Adam Cox, Lori's brother, and Charles did. And he claimed Lori created an email alias for him and used it to send a message to Chad Daybell the day before, inviting him to Arizona and write a book. Charles Vallow expressed concern about that message to Adam Cox, saying, I'm not sure of the relationship with her and Chad Daybell, but they're up to something. She will not explain it. I'm going to send it to Chad Daybell's wife. Her name is Tammy, and I found her email address on their website. Yeah, okay. Finally, I'm actually getting it. Yeah, so he's just thinking that she's pretending to be him, but it's them two are up to something. I don't know why I didn't get it before. I'm like, wait, why would he think that she's pretending to be him and Chad thinks it's Charles, when that would mean, if you read what the email says, that would mean that Chad and Charles would have had to have talked and hung out before for Chad to actually really think that it was Charles. So Charles Vallow expressed concern about that message to Adam Cox, saying, I'm not sure of the relationship with her and Chad Daybell, but they are up to something. She will not explain it. I'm going to send it to Chad Daybell's wife. Her name is Tammy, and I found her email address on their website too. I've got her cell number too. So that makes you wonder, did he end up contacting Tammy? Did Tammy end up confronting Chad with it then? So basically, Charles contacts Tammy, tells him about what's going on, and then Tammy starts like, huh? And then she starts wondering, so she asks Chad, and could that play a part into the whole plan and what they did to her? Because she was maybe starting to question and start to figure it out. So then, therefore, keeping a closer eye on Chad. Now, maybe not letting Chad go away, or just more protective and more, just basically watching and aware of maybe what's going on. And so then Chad can't do his thing so easily, and maybe he was just getting in his way because now he's not able to go do what he wants because now she's on to him. So could that have played a part into this whole thing?
And I think that's what the police are starting to think, and they're wondering about this email. It says Chandler police said they are also working closely with the other agencies over the other cases tied to the missing children, including the Fremont County, Idaho Sheriff's Office, which is over Tammy Daybell's suspicious death investigation. The Gilbert, Arizona Police Department, which is investigating Alex Cox's death, and the Rexburg, Idaho Police Department, and the FBI, which are directly over the disappearance of Ryan and JJ Vallow. So how many? We have Fremont Sheriff's Office, Gilbert Police Department, Rexburg Police Department, the FBI. Wow, so we got basically four agencies all working. I mean, I know they're working on different things. Like you got Fremont, Idaho is working on Tammy's, Gilbert, Arizona is working on Alex's, Rexburg, Idaho is working, and FBI are working on the missing kids. But it all kind of is all together in a way, so they're probably all kind of working together in a certain way too, getting information from each other too. Okay, so I think that's all, at least all the updates that, let me see if there's anything new out real quick. Sad, like the rate it's going is I feel like by the time I get a video together, it's like a whole week or sometimes 2 weeks of all the updates from the last 2 weeks all in one video. So hopefully you guys like it that way. Sometimes it's hard for me to just do like a quick update video every day. Sometimes it just works out better if it's like compiled of updates all together when I have time to get them all together. I don't know. Hopefully, I mean, maybe sometimes I'll be able to do it every day, and then sometimes it'll be like this, depending on what I got going on. But I do want to see, now that I'm here, I'll see if there's any new ones, new updates, while I got the video recording. Well, by the time this video comes out, and by the time you're watching it, we might have new information, because maybe she ends up posting bail, because they reduced it to 1 million, and with Chad's money he got from the life insurance of Tammy, they probably would be able to post it, to be honest. I mean, I'm sure he most definitely would have it to post it, so, and I'm sure he will. He was in court. I'm sure he's planning on it. So sometimes it takes a couple days to get it all situated where I'll have to call bondsman and then get it paid, and then just the process of getting it to the right people, getting it to the court, getting it to whoever they have to pay, and then it's like a long process to release somebody from jail. So it's probably going to be a few days before she is out, if she does get out, which I really do think she is. But she'll have to wear an ankle monitor. And what about Colby Ryan? I know I mentioned this real quick in my last video. How mad did he look? His face looked so red as he was walking out. Like he looked at his mom. He was so mad at her, which I don't blame him. But you just saw, like, he wanted to just yell at her, and he was so mad at her. Wow, he is really mad at her, and I don't blame him. I mean, what she is doing is horrible. Those are his brother and sister, and she is not even, I mean, this is before she even got arrested. She was free. She wouldn't even call him, or no contact, wouldn't even respond to him or anything. He was making videos like pleading for her to just call him, tell him something, just let him know what's going on, and she would not contact him at all. So I like to see when he first sees her, I like to see him just go off on her. But you know, if she makes bond, well, which I'm pretty sure she will, I wonder if, well, he might not even know. She might just stay hidden. He might not even know where she is staying, because the courts, I mean, they were trying to keep it private. The courts probably don't have to release that to him. So if she doesn't want them to know, she's not going to say, and she probably still won't talk to him. But I wish somehow he would figure out where she's at, which he might be able to, because maybe there's certain properties that she owns, or something that he knows, you know, where she would be. I don't know, but I would love for him to go and freaking just, tell her like it is, but and just record it and make her, yeah. The horrible thing is, I mean, it wouldn't matter because she would probably just sit there and not say anything with that smirk and laugh and just not tell him where the kids are.
Look at that smirk as she's walking past her family. What a jerk.
I think he should have made, I was really thinking that the judge was going to say one of the stipulations for the bond is she has to tell where the kids are. So not only post the bond, you know how there's a couple things where, you know, she couldn't leave these, this, she couldn't leave certain cities, she had to stay in like a certain area, she had an ankle monitor, she had to report to her attorneys or her people or whatever. The stipulations were, one of them I kept waiting, I thought he was going to say, and you have to tell us where your kids are. Because he made a remark before he was saying all that, how she still hasn't said where her kids are. So I just thought that's what he was leading into, the judge, and I thought that's what he was going to say. Like, that was going to be one of the things that she had to do. But I guess not, because that's the whole point why she's in court. But still, like, maybe would her freedom be that important? No, it wouldn't be, because she had this chance this whole time to just say it, and she wouldn't have been arrested, and she didn't. So yeah, if he would have made that like a requirement, then she wouldn't even have posted bond. Well, then good, then that's her fault. Oh, that's another thing where Chad supposedly, he, when one of the reporters came up to him, I'm gonna try to find that clip, and I guess he just made a statement that the kids were all right. Well, then where the heck are they? So that means, right there, I feel like that makes you involved. That means you know, right? If you're saying it, and that means you know where they're at, right? Can't they somehow arrest him or make him liable somehow? I know it's not his kids, but for the fact that they're missing, and for him to say that they're safe and they're okay, that's showing in a way that you're saying that you know where they're at, right? Kinda. I'm gonna try to find that clip where he's supposedly says that they're safe. Actually, I don't know. Now that I'm thinking about it, when I watched that video it was one of the news channels, I don't think you actually even heard him say that. I think they just said that he had said that. I don't know. I'll try to find it. But all right, guys. Bye. Have a good night. Thanks for watching.